What's up, J Fusion fans, and welcome back to another Superhero Time video. And yes, we're back. Superhero Time is back, so everybody give a round of applause. Yes, so for today's Kamen Rider Zero One, we actually see an episode where Metsubo Jinrai Net comes together. Like, this is actually the first episode that we see them complete, and it focuses solely on them. Now, in a way, this is also a recap episode, but this time around there are actual actors involved. So uh after returning in the previous episode, before all this recapping started, Ikazuchi comes back, and this is his first appearance since then. So we get to see him more, and we also get to see Naki involved as well. Everybody is involved when it comes to Metsubo Jinrai, and not to mention we see Azu. So what basically happened was, uh, each member of Metsubo Jinrai shared their experiences where they basically became singularities. So again, it is quite a recap episode. Technically, it is. So we go back to previous episodes, but highlighted the most important parts where they kind of awaken to being singularities and all of that. So Azu, on the other hand, of course, she's basically a new character. A hash of Izu, or another version of Izu. But what basically happened is that Azu was kind of part of a simulation created by Arc in order to do something. I almost spoiled that there, but Izu was indeed there for a purpose. So, for what that purpose is, it basically connects into next week's episode. So, yes, next week we finally have a fresh new episode for Kamen Rider Zero One. Now, as for the actual review of the episode, again, it's not much because it's technically again a recap of Kamen Rider Zero One, but from the viewpoint of the Metsubo Jinrai members. What makes it different is that, compared to previous recap episodes, we do see the actors that are involved in this episode. So no voiceovers, and I guess the highlight of this episode was Azu. Yes, so she basically takes the whole episode. Now we do see an appearance of Aruto, but it's not Aruto. Fumiya Takahashi appears in this episode, but uh, it's not the Aruto that we know. So he is involved in this episode, but you have to see for yourselves what he's actually doing there. So, well, it's not much, but if you are any Izu fanboy, you probably would love Azu. Seeing Noah Tsurushima act in a more human way. So Azu's character is more natural, while Izu is, of course, very much still robotic in terms of her movement, in her expressions. Of course, Izu has learned to become a bit more human, but Azu is definitely a lot more human than that. So if you enjoy uh, Noah Tsurushima's acting, then I believe this is the episode for you. So for me, I would actually give it a 4 out of 5, despite being a recap episode. Again, seeing Metsubo Jinrai members back. Azu, again, is the high point of this episode. So uh, it's definitely enjoyable for its own merits. But uh, well, we will have to wait for the next episode to actually see the story progress naturally. So, moving on to Kira Major. Now, today's Kira Major is a fresh episode. So, it's part of the storyline. No more recaps. Thank goodness. So, today's episode, as I have posted last week, this is a Tametomo focus. Now, uh, the episode basically is a Groundhog Day type situation. If anyone out there has seen the movie Groundhog Day, you will know what it is. So, uh, I'm not going to explain that movie because it will spoil this episode for you. Well, nothing really uh, special, maybe, but again, explaining the movie Groundhog Day will spoil this. So if you haven't seen Groundhog Day or if you don't know about the movie, you should probably check it out on your own or at least read about it so you will understand what it is and then you will understand what's happening in today's episode in a way. So what I actually noticed for today's episode. So there is an Easter egg, if you would call it. Now, we all know Tametomo is a professional esports gamer, and the game that is featured in today's episode is Tekken. Yes, Tekken is featured once again. The first time that Tekken was featured in a Super Sentai show was actually way back in Shinkenger when Shinken Green was introduced. Well, not really introduced, but his first focus episode. So we see him playing, I believe it was still Tekken 5 during that time, or maybe Tekken 6 was out, but definitely today was episode as Tekken 7 or 8. So definitely a more modern version, and we do see Tameton play as Kuma, or actually it was Panda, sorry, but he is actually a Kazuya main. So now we know. Of course, it is well, kind of a promotion with the Bandai Namco because they do make games for Toei Tokusatsu shows like Kamen Rider, and of course, if you have been following my games here, I play Super Sentai Legend Wars, which is a Bandai Namco creation. So it still makes sense despite what I would call a blatant promotion. But again, it still works out. Kametomo as a gamer, uh, featuring a popular game, would be, it would make sense. Oh, I do remember the last time I've seen Tekken in a Toei Tokusatsu show. It was actually Kamen Rider Exade. So, yeah, one of the games that Emu played back when he was a student was Tekken. So, I guess, they've been tied up for quite a while. So, uh, what's interesting about this episode, well, of course, we do see Tametomo in action a lot. This is his focus episode, so it makes sense, right? But one interesting thing, kind of sidetracking from the main plot, is that we do discover or we do learn that the Kirame stones also have their birthdays. So during the Groundhog Day situation, it was Helico's birthday, but after the problem was resolved at the end of the episode, we do find out that Maha is also celebrating his birthday. So they're just a day apart. Now, speaking of birthdays of Kirame Stone, so Mabushina explains that when a Kirame Stone gains sentience, that's their birthday. So the day a Kirame Stone becomes sentient. So yeah, so they're just like humans too, I guess. Now, in this episode, especially at the very end, we see a preview of Kirame Silver. So yes, next week he is going to make his debut. So you should all watch out for it. I am. I'm going to definitely do my review on that for next week. So as for my rating of today's Kira Major, I would actually give it also a 4 out of 5. Tametomo's focus is quite good, and how he resolves it is uh, actually amazing to watch. Not really a perfect episode for me, but definitely good. If you're a Tametomo fan, you will enjoy this episode. If you like Tekken, you will enjoy this episode. So, yeah, that's it for this week's superhero time. So, please do check out next week because it'll be so exciting. We will have two debuts, both in Kamen Rider Zero One and Kira Major. So, I am already excited to see them. So, anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next Superhero Time Review. Bye!